All right, my computer says 10:46, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know some others might join in as we go, but I want to honor your time commitment for those of you that have taken the time to join us. And my name is Brett Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and we're very excited to introduce to you today PassPoint and Human, who's going to be presenting to you. We met about 6 weeks ago, and we're super impressed with the program they've created and how it can be an asset to companies to protect themselves liability-wise. I think about the worst thing I can imagine right now is if a company had one of their employees or staff get the virus, and of course, the worst case scenario would be possibly pass away from the coronavirus and then sue the company and blame the company for it in some way. I mean, I think that could be about the death blow to some of these companies, some of us who have all been trying to hold on and hang on through this whole process. So we got very excited about what PassPoint has to offer. And so we think you'll be impressed as well. So I am going to turn it over to Human. I'm going to shut off my video screen and mute myself and then take it away.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity and thank everybody for their time. Before we get started, so as you said, my name is Human. I grew up in San Diego. I graduated from UCSD, worked at a couple companies here in San Diego, as well as up in the Bay Area for Apple, where I was one of the original software engineers for the iPhone. Since then, I've gone to a couple startups, one of which was acquired by Qualcomm, and there I was the director of technology, advanced technologies for them. So this is a space that I'm quite familiar with. I've done IoT and software for business for a long time. I also have our CTO, Joe, on the line as well, who, in addition to a bunch of startups doing security work for them, also worked at Google. So to get started, we're gonna have a quick 15-minute presentation today about what PassPoint is, how we integrate privacy and security policies into our platform, how it works, and then ultimately how it's gonna protect you, and we'll talk a little bit about pricing. So what is PassPoint? PassPoint helps stop the spread of infections in your workplace. And the way we do that is by automating and streamlining daily employee symptom screening and digital contact tracing. And we do this so that you instantly know if you or any of your employees have been exposed to any illness, including COVID or the cold or flu or anything else. And hopefully, right, we're able to improve your COVID-19 compliance with state and local health guidelines, including those by Cal OSHA. As Brett was mentioning, having an employee get sick or actually pass away could be a death blow. And actually, the laws were changed. Gavin Newsom just signed a law a couple weeks ago, actually, that now places the onus on employers to prove that they did everything in their power to prevent an outbreak. And if an employee does contract COVID within 14 days of a workplace outbreak, they are now eligible for workers' compensation, and the employer is the one that has the onus to prove it, that they did what they could. And ultimately, our system is designed in order to protect employees and employers best is a web-based system, which means there's no app downloads. All your existing hardware works. So any phone, tablet, laptop, computer, all will work with our platform. And ultimately, it's all built on a secure and access controlled database. So I want to talk a little bit about privacy and security, because that's at the core of what we built with PassPoint. A lot of times privacy and security, people think more is better, and that's actually the opposite. More means more avenues of attack. And so what we built PassPoint, the primary aspect here is to provide strict access control, both for employees and for administrators. And this is to prevent any kind of sharing of employee health data, which is a big requirement from a HIPAA perspective. We also use secure HTTPS data connections with the cloud. So this is similar to those of most banking or financial websites. We don't track GPS at all, and we don't share your data with anybody. And ultimately, and this is something that I believe in and Joe believes in as well from our backgrounds, is your data is your data, right? PassPoint works in 3 distinct parts. And the first is a daily symptom screener. And the goal here really is to identify those symptoms before they enter your workplace. Because if we identify it before it enters your workplace, we don't have an outbreak at the workplace. The survey is designed to be completed within 10 seconds. And employees self-certify about any symptoms or high-risk activities that they've engaged in. The same system is also built for visitor and guest check-in. And ultimately, because we are a cloud-based system, we're able to provide real-time communications to both the employee and the administrators based on the answers that we receive. Again, because we're cloud, we can update those questions as the guidelines change, which since March, the guidelines have changed quite a bit. And we're always able to stay kind of one step ahead, quickly update, roll it out, and you have it the next morning. And in case employees forget, there are automated daily reminders to kind of give them that little bit of a nudge to remind them to check in again before they come into work. Here's a sample of our symptom screener. As you can see on the left-hand side, very similar to what you've probably seen in the past and what you should actually be asking currently, right? Cal OSHA requires that we ask these questions to our employees before they come in. So now with this symptom screener, you have a record of each employee saying whether or not they have symptoms, whether or not they've been in close proximity with somebody who has tested positive or has symptoms of COVID, and have they followed the state and local guidelines, social distancing, wearing a face covering. And that final question is really kind of the crux of what the symptom screener does, is have you answered each question truthfully and to the best of your knowledge? Because now we put the responsibility onto the employee for answering truthfully. Obviously, there's no way we can prevent somebody from lying. We have no way of knowing, did you lose your sense of smell or not? There's no test that we can do online that can detect that. But we can ask the employee that, are you answering truthfully? And if they don't, and something bad happens, like an outbreak at your work, that's where you can provide that data to lawyers and whoever else that needs it to kind of say, well, I've done everything in my power, and this employee answered that they didn't have anything and they lied. And on the right-hand side, we see there's a yellow, a green, and a red box. That's it, right? So either you're cleared to come into work or you're not. Again, we're able to provide clear directions to each employee, whether they should come in or not. We remind them, as again, required by some of the compliance of California Department of Health, to remind them to maintain social distance, clean and disinfect. And at the same time, again, if they're not coming into work, to not spread the virus anymore or potentially spread it. We provide the email and phone number of your HR administrator or representative for the company, again, so that the employees can get in contact. And then this screen can be customized based on the specifics of your company. If you have specific sick leave policies or specific time off policies that you want to kind of remind. Part of what we like to tell people is, at this time, especially, being sick is okay, right? If you're sick, we'd rather you stay home for a couple of days and understand your symptoms better versus coming in and potentially putting your entire staff at risk. The second part of PassPoint is employee contact tracing. And the goal here is to identify at-risk employees and really prevent that outbreak. So what we do is we sort employees based on potential exposure, highlighting the highest risk employees first. We categorize your employees by location or department so that if somebody on the first floor of the building has symptoms, it doesn't mean that the person on the 5th floor of the building should go home. And then we also help identify close contact as defined by the CDC of closer than 6 feet and longer than 10 minutes. And ultimately, we provide you that instant feedback so that you can react in real time. Because we know in these kind of situations, the quicker you react, the more effective your response is going to be. And that's why we allow you to monitor those results remotely. So we have many clients who they're not coming into the office, but they have staff that is, and they're able to monitor all of that while they work from home. And the third part is our dashboard and reporting. And what we want to really allow you and your business leaders to do is to make data-driven decisions in real time. And so we access control that, so only select people in your organization can see those results. And our cloud analytics provide all of that in real time. And the nice thing is we're not actually, myself or anybody on my team is actually looking at that data either. All of these are algorithms that we have in the cloud that does this automatically. And we have systems in place, and I can talk more, and Joe can talk more about how our clustering and how we do our point system, risk assessment system in the background to kind of give you that confidence. But ultimately, what we're providing is that real-time notification, and then those on-demand audit reports. And all of this together is how you mitigate that risk and liability for your business. So ultimately, how does Passpoint protect you? We stop infections before they enter your workplace. We simplify the compliance aspect so that you're no longer spending the paperwork or the time required, right? We've talked to a lot of companies who do this over spreadsheets and emails. And that could very well be a HIPAA violation, because if you're not securing that data and sending it over just, kind of random email, that could be a problem. We allow you to monitor your results remotely and ultimately protect your employees from illness. And when we protect your employees from illness, we protect your business from litigation risk. And ultimately, all of that is what helps you improve productivity. COVID obviously is something on everybody's mind right now. But in 2018, the United States employers alone lost nearly 1.4 billion days of productivity due to illness, right? And we've seen this, right? People come into the office and say, "Oh, I'm just nursing a cold." No, nursing a cold means that you're infecting others, right? And so that's really what we want to try to protect, and how we want to protect your business from that liability aspect, because we know these lawsuits are coming down the pipeline, and ultimately we want to make sure that we have a way of protecting ourselves. So from a pricing perspective, our solution is built to be very affordable, and our solution is built to be something that everybody should have. There's no hidden fees. We offer a 14-day free trial. And ultimately, if you have less than 5 employees, it's free. And we do that primarily because we assume, well, one, we're a startup, so we understand how that works. But 2, we hope at some point you're going to grow and you're going to have more employees. They're going to fall into one of our paid pricing plans. If you have a small business between 6 and 50 employees, it's just $49 a month. And if you have a medium-sized business, 51 to 100 employees, it's $99 a month. So it's a price point that we feel every business can be involved with. And ultimately, I'm a resident of San Diego. I'm moving to Carlsbad in the next few weeks. So for me, protecting the community is something that's important. And I think a lot of these solutions that I see in some of our competitors have large startup fees, have large monthly fees. Some of them are $10, $15 per employee. That just is a stopper for a lot of people, especially in this time when businesses are kind of figuring out how to survive. We don't think it's right to make a huge price point that people can't afford. And so with that, questions. I'd like to answer any questions that people have, and how we can help you guys be more successful.
If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask the question directly.
Yeah, Sue Lofton. My question is, we're short of people and have been using temp services. Can you add in temporary people, whether they're going to be here for a week or a month?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can add employees and remove employees as needed. We will store that data in our database for a minimum of 14 days, just in case, let's say you have a temp employee that comes in, they leave on Friday, and then 5 days later, they email you and say, hey, you know what, I actually have COVID now. We can now take that data, go back into the system 14 days back and say, hey, who is that temp in contact with? So absolutely, temp employees, full-time employees work. We also have tracking for remote employees. Some of our clients have asked for more data on who's working from home and who's not, just to kind of help them a little bit in the future when they decide how they want to reopen.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. I answered everybody's question in my presentation. That's amazing. Well,
All right. Newman, thank you so much for being with us today. Did we have another question?
Yes, I have one. You stated that doing this within a company via email, sending a form back and forth with, say, your temperature recorded, violates HIPAA, does it? I mean, is that a violation?
so if you are not protecting your employees' health data, specifically if you're now collecting actual temperature readings and not just a yes or no, so if you're collecting, 100.4 and 98.6, you are now collecting health data, and you have to protect that data from others finding out. So it's not necessarily a guaranteed HIPAA violation, but it's very easy if somebody is, that email accidentally gets forwarded to the wrong person. Yes, you could absolutely be in violation of HIPAA laws, because
Okay.
you are required to protect those employees' data.
Sure, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. And so that's why we access control everything, right? So only select people can view the data. Even when we send our emails out, we don't say necessarily what symptom they have. We just say, hey, John Smith has indicated that they have symptoms. Please log into that database or into the dashboard to see their symptom. So again, if somebody is looking at your email or your email gets hacked, it's not necessarily going to be out there. And our entire platform, from the moment you sign up, takes about 5 minutes to get onboarded, which means once you sign up, we get a spreadsheet of your employees' information, first name, last name, email, and then any department or location information you have. We upload to that system, upload that to our system, and then automatic emails are sent out to each one of your employees to finish the sign up process.
And how long does that typically take? This is Sue again. How long does that typically take?
Most of our clients onboard within about the upload of the spreadsheet, within 5 minutes. Generally, we see a little over 90% compliance within the first week. We generally hit about 50% compliance. Compliance meaning employees finishing the sign up. That gets better if you were to personally email your employees and say, hey, we're starting this new program. Here's what we're doing. Then most people kind of sign up. But yeah, generally within a week, we have a little over 90 to 95% compliance.
And then last question, do we go to your email, or do you have a phone number we call? How do we?
Yeah, I can provide my contact information in the chat box, but yeah, you go to getpasspoint.com /try-passport, and then you can sign up from there. But I'll put that information in the chat box if I can access it from here. Or I don't know, Joe, can you put that information in the chat box?
Yep, I'll do that right now.
And then obviously that's my personal email. Feel free to email me with any questions that you have. And I'd be more than happy to provide my cell phone number if anybody needs who wants to talk in person about your specific situation.
Can you give us your cell phone now, or do you want us to email you?
Sure, I have no problem with my cell phone. My cell phone number is area code 858-245 4701.
Okay, and this is Sue again. It probably will be Angelique from my office contacting you. She's
Sure.
a head of administration.
Yeah, no problem. So we generally work, with smaller companies. We work with the owners directly. Some of our clients have HR representatives or HR administrators that we work with. We work with, front office people as well. So it really depends on how it works with your company, but we've designed the system so that anybody, regardless of technical ability, should be able to operate our system. All we really need is, like I said, a spreadsheet with about 4 data points: first name, last name, email, and then location. The location is optional, but if you provide it, we allow us to do more detailed contact tracing.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
So that's the
Thanks
website.
again.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Human, for being here today and for giving us this great program. If there's any more questions, go ahead and ask. Our next session will start at 11:30 with Bill King and his exclusive program for the chamber members. So thank you again, Human. And for everyone else on the call, we will start back up at 11:30.